Oh my gosh. We got some absolutely massive stuff to talk about, and I'm not even referencing the Pokemon Presents next Monday. Already made a video on that, already got the stream prep for that, already hope that I will see you bright and early next Monday morning. It's going to be like a 5:30 a.m. stream for me, so thanks Pikachu. But Nintendo is up to more madness today, and this is some of the craziest stuff we've ever seen on this channel. I don't say that lightly, but I woke up and I saw this and I literally went, holy crap. I never thought this would happen, legitimately. So, good morning, Mario, and it's a good morning indeed for Mario. So, good morning, Switch fans. What's going on? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button. If you hit the like button, if you like these videos, it does help out a lot. I appreciate it. I love making stuff for you guys, and it makes me feel good to know that you're enjoying it as well. Nintendo is going to be enjoying a new era, a whole new era, and there's implications here. There's also a really bad possible way this turns, but we'll get to all of that. First, I want to tell you about the first review pop for Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Now, this game is something that I'm not super excited for, primarily because it's a port of a Wii game, although they did add the new epilogue that has sort of like a build your character type element, where you pick the perks that Magolor gets as you go, which is just interesting. Anyways, Famitsu gave this a 35 out of 40. Now that may sound pretty average, but to put this in perspective, last year's Kirby in the Forgotten Land got a 36. Only one better, and to me, Kirby in the Forgotten Land was like masterpiece level. Now Star Allies got a 35, just like this game, so maybe 35 is just what they give Kirby's over in Japan at Famitsu Magazine. But it does make me more interested to check this out. Am I wrong for just passing over Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe? It's out in like a couple of days, coming up on us quick. Should I give it a chance? Do you guys want to see what the Magolor, Mary Magolor epilogue is about? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, this would have been amazing if it happened when I was in school. So shout out to everybody in middle school. You're living the dream, okay? We didn't even have cell phones when I was in middle school. I didn't even have the internet when I was in middle school. That's how old this wrinkly face is. Nintendo made a partnership with the Middle School Esports League Spring Major to bring Splatoon 3, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to their esports ring. Now, this is so cool that kids like 10, 11, 12, 13 can compete and participate in Nintendo official tournaments. I don't know. And we'll keep this short, but to me, that's just amazing. I don't know if any of you have, siblings in middle school or cousins in middle school, or if you're in middle school yourself, like this is just, I would have loved this. I would have loved this. I remember the one time I got to do a Nintendo tournament when I was little. I went to the mall when I lived in Michigan, and it was for Mario Kart Double Dash, and it was before the game came out, and it was a battle mode tournament, and I won, and I got a little Mario Kart, like an RC car, like a remote control Mario Kart. Back in the day, that was pretty sweet. Back in the day, it was pretty cool. It was a little one, but like the fact that I won, I don't think people at school believe me. I didn't have like a trophy. I was just like, I went to the mall and I beat everybody. I did, I swear. I did. I was good back then, and I don't think people were as into, I don't know. I think it was mostly kids partaking in this primarily, but alas, now the kids of today get this super sweet esports thing. And okay, enough reminiscing. Let's talk about the big news that I am flabbergasted by, the thing that blew me away, and the thing that is going to change the world for Nintendo. Late last night, Bradley Smith made a post. Now, who is Brad Smith, you ask? Is he the cool kid down the street with the shiny Heelys? Is he my dad? Does he work for Nintendo? No, he's the vice chair and president of Microsoft. Things are getting more and more interesting now, because Brad Smith says that they've signed a binding 10-year contract with Nintendo. A 10-year contract with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo the same day as Xbox, with full feature and content parity, so they can experience Call of Duty just as Xbox and PlayStation gamers enjoy Call of Duty. It's one thing to say you're going to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. It's another thing to make a binding 10-year contract. It's even more to go over here and say, day and date, full feature and content parity. That means they're not bringing Call of Duty Mobile to Switch, my friends. That means they're not doing a spin-off zombie collection for $70, my friends. That means we're getting the Call of Duties for 10 years on Nintendo hardware, day and date, same features, same game. Wow. This shows you how much the Switch has moved the needle. Remember when they made like a Wii U Black Ops and it wasn't very great? Remember when they tried Call of Duty on Nintendo and then were like, Yanked that real fast. Haven't had it since. This is momentous. How they accomplish this is going to be incredible. The big detail here is full feature and content parity. And how do you do that on a Switch system that is so old and so decrepit in comparison to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and modern day PCs with graphics cards where Call of Duty is currently operating? The answer is you can't. And that's why this is just not only monumental from a game standpoint, but from a hardware standpoint as well. Now let's get the really bad nightmare scenario out the way, because some of you have probably already thought of it. And if you commented it, kudos to you, because you're ahead of the 8 ball. There is a world where Nintendo and Microsoft sign a 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players the same day as Xbox with full feature and content parity in the cloud. Didn't think of that. Some of you didn't, and now your mind is, oh my gosh, deflated. That would be absolute buffoonery. If their 10-year contract is to bring 10 cloud versions of Call of Duty to Nintendo Switch, I will smash a banana in my face on camera. That is not cool, and Brad Smith, kind of lame. Now, there is a better scenario and a much more likely scenario, because remember, Microsoft and Activision, they don't want Call of Duty to flop. The Nintendo audience is a fruitful, gigantic, money-spending group of players that can really benefit this franchise as it moves forward. And there's all the back and forth deliberating of how are they going to handle, the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger, but we don't need to get into that. We just need to get into perhaps this 10-year contract does not start until Nintendo ups the ante. Perhaps this 10-year legal agreement kicks in once the Switch 2 drops. Now, I feel like this is much more likely than a cloud catastrophe, and thank goodness. Nintendo can release their Switch Pro or Switch 2 or Switch Advance and have it be much more capable in terms of hardware power. In that case, Call of Duty has a shot because they're promising content and feature parity, and it would need much more power to be able to inject itself onto the Switch. I'm already thinking though of how many other roadblocks there are because the cartridges can't hold the 100 gigs that Call of Duty demands. Call of Duty is one of the largest installs you'll ever put on your PC or your current gen console. How on a Switch? Perhaps the Switch 2 will upgrade cards to be absolutely gigantic, or they'll find some unique way of compressing, or the graphics files won't be as elevated. I'm not so sure. But I think the scenario here that we need to expect is that this doesn't register for a year or two. Maybe 2025 is when the first Call of Duty hits Nintendo platforms, and then we cruise into 10 years of parity. If this is the start, could this agreement be kind of the beginning of third parties saying, okay, we can do it too. We can bring our Assassin's Creeds day and date to Nintendo Switch. We can bring our Elden Rings day and date to Nintendo Switch. And I think the undercurrent here, what this says more than anything, is that the next Switch is coming. The next Switch is beefy, the next Switch is powerful, and Microsoft would not sign this deal if Nintendo's plan was to keep the current Switch forevermore. Right? We know something's happening. We don't know when, but we know it's happening. And I think this is just further proof that the next Switch is impressive. The next Switch has made an impression on Brad Smith and Microsoft, enough so that they want to commit to feature and content parity on Switch. You don't do that lightly. You don't make a feature and content parity promise unless you're sure you can achieve it, and I'm sure they can achieve it on the current Switch. So again, we sit in this purgatory where we know a new one's coming, but we don't know when, and the new one is way more exciting than the current. Thankfully, we have games like Zelda to tide us over, but this is momentous. And this shows what the Switch has moved for Nintendo. Not just millions of units and millions of copies of Pokemon, but it's also moved the needle for other companies, other publishers, other platform holders. Did you ever think you'd see Microsoft and Nintendo negotiate and sign a 10-year contract for Call of Duty? I sure didn't. I thought Call of Duty would pop on Nintendo once again, but in a diminutive, shrunken down, ported, amalgamation, possibly monstrosity form. This is interesting. This is big, and this is bold for the future of Nintendo and for the future of Microsoft. It's going to be curious to see what else they're able to carry over. Could we be eventually getting Diablo 4, Starfield 2, Fallout 5? Could that all be day and date on Switch as well? A world where Microsoft and Nintendo unify, at least in a games distribution method, is amazing. If we can get more Microsoft-owned titles on Nintendo, day and date with parity, whew, that's much more than an old port of Doom 2016 or a Fallout collection from yesteryear. This is the biggest deal that has been had by Nintendo in eons. I'm telling you, this is going to go down as one of the absolute greatest moves Furukawa, Doug Bowser, and the entire Nintendo Switch era team have made. This is crazy, and I cannot wait to see how it comes to fruition. And I'm absolutely over here crossing my fingers and my toes and my eyes that it's not a Cloud commitment. Because if it's Cloud, then I erase everything I just said, and I think Nintendo's really dumb. It's not Cloud, right? Nobody believes it's Cloud. Okay, cool. I also want to address something that's making the rounds right now, which is that there was a filing that shows that Nintendo's Switch Online is going to be on the next console as well. I don't think that's worthy of its own video because, yes, the Switch Online ain't going to stop. They're looking to make a service in the same way of Xbox Live and PlayStation Network that can continue and can build and grow, because if you restart every time, look what happens. You have to reintroduce NES games over and over, and that's miserable for everyone involved. So, yeah, Switch Online is going to be on the next Switch. Call of Duty is going to be on the next Switch. And Nintendo's making moves. I'd love to see them lock this in with others. Who else would you like to see? I want to think about that. What other third party would you love to have day and date on Switch that didn't seem possible or likely before? I mean, Assassin's Creed's a pretty good one, especially with their commitment to really moving that franchise in interesting directions. But let's think about it. Let me know in the comments if you have any good franchises or companies you want to sign a similar deal. And if you're ecstatic like I am about this Call of Duty commitment. 10 years, no Cloud. 10 years. Full parity, baby. I love you. We've got parity. We're both in this together looking for the best Switch games to play. So thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Appreciate you being a part of SwitchForce. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, thanks again. SwitchForce out. Now go play Marvel Snap.